Hello, everyone. My name is Edith, also known as the Lady E, and welcome to the Lady E Effect podcast. So, today we are going to do something a little different. We are going to get into a new segment. This segment highlights men, real men, to talk about different topics regarding life, mindset, etc. Please welcome Nigel.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Man, it feels good to finally get to sit down. You can be running around in today's world, be ripping and running. So yeah. Mhm.
So, would you like to give us a little introduction, tell us a little bit about yourself?
Um, yeah, so I am Nigel Ogbonna. I'm from Detroit, first generation Nigerian, from from my father. Um, right now I'm living in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where Giannis play. I'm really big into the automotive and information technology space. Uh, that's currently was in automotive. I segue to IT, so I'm on a network engineering tip. Uh, so I've been doing that heavily, really. Obviously with the investing and I'm really big into entrepreneurship and the stock space too. So and real estate. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been into, and uh, definitely daddy time with the two kids. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, you all can see why I had to have this amazing man on this podcast, let alone just have a real man discuss things regarding real men. So, to introduce today's topic and segment, it will be men versus males. So, again, in this topic and segment, we will be speaking with real men to talk about things regarding life, mindset, family, faith, business, professionalism, etc. So, with my first question that I would like to ask you is what does a man mean to you?
Real man to me is just having a purity of thought and act. So just having pure thoughts and pure actions and really being sound in everything that you do, like standing for something. That's obviously moral.
Okay. Yeah. I agree. It's definitely important to have a particular mindset. Your beliefs is important, your mentality is important, your day-to-day activity is important, the way you treat other people, if you have children, the way you treat your children, the way you invest your time, the way you take care of your house, um, handle your bills, etc. It's really important to have these kind of conversations. So with that being said, I definitely wanted to pick your brain regarding today's topic. I've been trying to get you on here for a while, and it's really important to have real men speak. Black men, as I've said before, and in general, are very powerful. A lot of times, Black men are misunderstood. There's not always the best representation to speak for real men. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I used all of my platforms and this opportunity that God has given me to definitely speak and allow those that definitely have voices that need to be heard to speak for those that probably don't think that they can speak for themselves. So back to the topic regarding men. Um, if you would like to get into it a little bit more regarding the technology space, the professional spaces that you've been blessed to experience and grow more further in, can you give us a little bit more of a background regarding the space that you're in regarding technology? We know technology is huge. There's the software side, there's the hardware side, there's the technical, non-technical side, etc. So would you like to elaborate a little bit more on the space that you're in professionally?
Yeah. So when I was in automotive and I was looking to get out, um, I had a lot of people who was around me that was in my, vicinity, in my circle, that was in technology. Some was exactly in what I was doing. Some were in different spaces in technology as well. And, me making that jump was really just about looking for something in that field that, highlighted my skill set. And in all actuality, like, it wasn't that hard because IT is really just like the new, like, because everything's technology now. Like, so when I came in the automotive world, it was kind of technological in its own. Um, so just transferring over, like, it was super simple because I was really just doing this on a different scale, honestly. So, just doing that, dealing with, I'm more of a hardware and network and security person. So, I mean, it's just all about, being a technologist and, you know, retaining information and finding the information and finding the answer. I've always been that type of person. So, and granted, because like I said, we grew up in an African household, so it's doctor, lawyer, engineer. So, and my dad was an engineer, so I've always grown up with that in me. So, um, yeah, it's always been like that. And just to see where technology is going is nuts. I mean, because we use technology every day to solve a lot of the issues that can't be solved, or or use it as an avenue, as a solution. How about that? Yeah, we use it as an avenue, as a solution. So, like, for example, hey, we can't find, quote unquote, we can't find a lot of adequate workers, so we'll use technology to replace the worker. You know what I mean? But in certain things, like in hospitals, in manufacturing, technology is really huge because when you have the need, you need to actually, have production. And so that's why technology is important. And, it gives us the avenue to, do a lot of cool things um, in this new day and age type of thing. So, I mean, I love it. I mean, we always get to use it for a lot of different things, and it's endless at this point because you can always make something better. So,
Yeah. I agree. There's a lot of people that I'm connected to, family, friends, neighbors that are in the technology space, and technology is just a very huge industry. Like you said, it literally connects to everything in life, whether it's regarding, the organization of your day, your finances, your mindset, um, TV, radio, etc. Technology literally is connected to everything. Healthcare, right? Just about everything. So it is definitely with it already being in your upbringing, but also in the nature of you transitioning out of, like you said, the automobile space, but the connection between both is actually very synchronized. And that's something that, especially with a lot more people that are open to expand and are open to pretty much just explore the areas of technology are looking forward to do, because one thing that you mentioned, you're on the hardware side. There's a lot of people that I know that are in technology, but a lot of people are doing maybe software or scrub master or just a lot of different things. There's so many endless titles and of course responsibilities and things to know, and that's a space that you're always able to learn, you're always able to develop and grow, because of course that's what technology is doing rapidly all the time. It's growing, it's developing, it's revealing new insight on things that, the world can, I believe, benefit from in many different ways. So I definitely appreciate you sharing that. My next question for you, just to keep within the topic of conversation regarding the professionalism and the space that you're in, what would you say in the transition of transitioning into technology would be an area that you believe was most challenging for you?
I don't really think it was. I think the only thing that was most challenging was me was is anytime you're learning something new, it's just a learning curve. So, like, for me, like, the soft skills wasn't the issue because I already had it from automotive. I already had to deal with it from talking to customers about their vehicles and learning how to mitigate all those different feelings and emotions as far as telling you information about your vehicle and how much this costs and how much it's going to be and what this is going to be. And you have to then prioritize this, that, and the third. So moving into technology space, like, talking to people about the internet and how their network is and is it secure and those type of things and those reactions, they're just normal. Like they're not really mad at you, they just mad at the situation. So,
Right.
and going through your training, they stress that to you, like, you're going to get some people that are angry and some people that are emotional and some people that are going, gonna be a little mean or something like that. But don't worry, like they're not really mad at you. They're just mad at the situation. And you just talk them through it. And once you talk them through it, because like there are a couple times where like you'll get some people of a different generation, like, and they'll be super mad at you, but after y'all done talked a couple times and done called you about the same problem or a different problem, y'all be like really, really cool. So um the relationships you build is really good. But as far as what was my biggest learning curve was just the newer technology, just having to learn something completely over, especially like in this space, you gotta be really quick on your feet and you gotta retain information really, really fast. So that was the only thing that was hard for me, but it wasn't even really time consuming, honestly. So, but
Yeah.
those are the things that if people were to transition, there's a lot of people who would like to transition to technology. There's a lot of people who transition to technology every single day who were in marketing or you were you know physical therapy or what I mean. There's a lot of people I talked to that they have transitioned to technology, and that was the that we all have the same thing. It's just learning the technology. So like there's two really main things. One, you either have to know somebody, and two, you gotta humble yourself. Because humility is really important, especially in the new day and age of the workforce.
Yeah. You literally touched a very, very valid point and all of the amazing points that you brought up. Humility, humbling yourself. In life in general, a lot of things, whether it's trials, tribulations, challenges, new beginnings, endings, humbling yourself is one of the most important things that you can do as a human being. So I appreciate you bringing that up, especially when it comes to professionalism, because a lot of times people can have, a lot of different areas of expertise that they specialize in, and maybe they're transitioning into something new. And, it's important to have previous information because a lot of times it can help transition you into where you're going next, but to humble yourself and be willing and able to be open to understand that we don't know everything. There's a lot to learn and there's a lot to unlearn. And it's really important to humble yourself in all that you do, especially when you're going through a transition. It takes away the stress, the anxiety, the unnecessary emotional um, you know, boundaries and areas that you may find yourself falling into when you don't humble yourself. So I really appreciate you mentioning that, as well as just your experience in technology, because technology is something that is really, really growing rapid. Like you said, a lot of people transition to it daily, which is very true. So to close out this area regarding technology in your professional space, for anyone that is transitioning to technology and or automotive, do you have anything that you would like to share with them?
Yeah, so uh the skills, I mean, you can build on those. Um just one thing you gotta remember is that you have to learn how to separate the work from the other stuff, from the politics.
Mm.
Separate the work from the politics. Like, you can control the work. You can control how much you study. You control how much time that you put into your craft and into the information and learning how to troubleshoot, and things of that nature. That's you. That's all up on you. That's really dependent upon you. But the politics, you just let the politics be the politics. Like, don't worry about this coworker, this coworker, that manager, that manager, that. You can really don't have to worry too much time about putting your stuff into that. And I feel like I sometimes kind of earlier in my career, I kind of felt like I let that kind of get to me. And then once I stopped letting it get to me, then it made everything a little bit more palatable. So it makes it definitely a little bit more pleasant, make it a little easier. Like, oh, okay, that's what you're doing. Okay, I know how to stay out the way of that. So that would be my number one advice.
Yeah, that definitely sounds solid. So I appreciate you sharing that. So we're going to transition out of the professional space. I want to have you briefly talk about this a little bit. Recently, you graduated. If you want to share a little bit about that as far as what you were studying, what you graduated with, and just how that connects to the professional space before we close out this area of the segment.
Yeah, so before I had made a transition to technology, I had went back to get my associates in information technology networking. And so recently, what you're speaking to is that I had went to the university to get my bachelor's. So it was in information science and technology. And the crazy part about that is that before I went, I was like, do I really want to go do this? You know, and then when I went, like, um, I wish I would have did it earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like I had so much fun. I learned so many different things, and it really benefited me really a lot. And yeah, so some of the things I was studying were it was really obviously it was about technology, but in as far as like the information science, like the whole program, it was really like it was like the macro of it. Like let's talk about the organizational structure. Let's talk about the, you know, how technology is trending. Let's talk about every single thing that's not just immediate.
Mm.
Like it was like things that are scalable. And so it gives you a different kind of outlook on how technology was as a whole. And you know, it kind of makes you really like let me know that reassure that you know I really did care about this really a lot, and I'm glad I made this decision. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, and I appreciate you bringing answering that. Because most importantly, this all connects. One thing about life, whether it makes sense to us or not, trials, tribulations, reset, starting over, it all connects to your purpose anyway. So I definitely believe, and it absolutely sounds like, you are living in your purpose as you continue to grow, develop, learn, um, increase in your skill set, etc. So I definitely wanted to touch on that because ironically it's absolutely connecting into where you are now and where you are going moving forward. So thank you for sharing that. So I want to switch a little bit and go into the topic of parenthood. We know that parenthood is something that is a blessing. It can definitely be very challenging as far as a mother and a father's perspective. You being a Black man, most importantly, a father, is there anything that you would like to share as far as your experience being a father?
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as just fatherhood, I mean, because that's the only thing I can really speak on. Fatherhood was definitely different. It's just in the beginning stages, it does feel like a switch is flipped. Uh,
Mm.
everything, every decision, every action, every thought is not yours. Is not just for you anymore. So um, that was definitely different. And just learning going through that because there's no book on this, but it's just learning more about yourself and learning more about your child as well, like getting to know that what they like, what they don't like, what similar things that you got. And then it's kind of like it kind of puts you kind of like in a vacuum because it kind of makes you go back into your mind and think about you know, all those things that you did as a kid and at their age and oh, okay, like, oh, you do this like how I used to do it and you do that. You know what I mean? So like it definitely is an amazing experience in that light. And then you get to see like, you know, what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are and what they kind of struggle at and what they really excel at. You know, so it's definitely injuvenating experience. I definitely say I've had a lot of fun uh in what I've been a parent for what 5 years now. So
That's amazing. I love, 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 love hearing from a father. Um, yes, a Black man, but a father, a real father, the experience of what it's like to be a father. So I have one more question regarding this space. I'm blessed to have a lot of people in my life that are mothers and fathers. of sons, daughters, maybe one, the other, if not both. Um, I wanted to definitely ask you this. I have a lot of women in my life, but just in general that are mothers and are mothers of sons, right? And sometimes they struggle because, they're not men. There's things that they may need to teach their sons that the father may or may not be teaching them. So, is there anything that you would like to share with mothers that have sons regarding maybe some suggestions on how uh, they should not just raise their children because it's a very unique experience with every child? Definitely want to say that. But do you have anything that you'd like to share in that space for the mothers regarding their sons?
Um, yeah, I guess I would like to say that. Well, for one, the society doesn't look at your son the way you look at your son, so you always have to be cognizant of that, and that should play a role. I mean, in my opinion, it should play a role in kind of how you raise them, and you're going to need that male figure to, on a day-to-day basis, kind of guide through life. I mean, definitely, because that's your son too, and you're gonna have to show your son, what the woman's perspective and what the woman's role is on life, because both kids need to see that, even with my daughter. So that would be my number one suggestion, because that needs to happen. And as far as, if even if that's his granddaddy or his uncle or his father, or even if you have to if they're not together, finding him a stepfather. I mean, there's a multitude of ways of doing that, but that needs to be definitely one at the top of the list. Something that, from that perspective, where he needs to, because you need to learn how to deal with the emotions as he's growing up. There's a lot of emotions growing up that I can't, like, for me. I mean, I lived with my father, so it was different. So, but I remember before I lived with my father, I lived with my mom, and it was just growing up. I couldn't. Okay, baby. I couldn't go, you know, go to my mother for about certain things and feelings, and because that relatability wasn't there. But being able to go to my father, or having my father come to me, because he knew what type of, what was going on, because he could feel it and sense it, and because he had been through it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that mentorship through
Hmm.
that role. So that's kind of what it really is about.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I appreciate that. I'm sure a lot of mothers that will be tuning in definitely would appreciate that, especially coming from a father. And just having the blessing of knowing outside of your experiences and what you're learning regarding raising a child, whether it be a son or and a daughter. It's really important to have these conversations, and I'm sure we're going to explore this more as this channel continues. So let's just switch a little bit back to the men part. I know there's a lot of men that tune into a lot of different things, and a lot of times they don't always seem to get the voices that need to speak on their behalf regarding certain things to speak on their behalf. So I don't know if there's anything that you would like to share. This is such a wide and broad space, of course. So I don't know if this is something that well, I'm sure there's things that you would like to share regarding that. I know we'll definitely have you for some future um, topics of conversation regarding this because, um, being a man is a blessing. Obviously, I'm a woman, but I'm blessed enough to have, brothers, male friends, etc. And, I'm blessed to have real men in my life. And we have conversations, whether it be on or off camera, regarding real things that happen in life. So, because this is such a broad space, is there anything that you would like to share with men that are listening, men that are real men that do struggle with things, or maybe how society sees them, etc.? And you have anything you want to share about that?
Uh, well, just in this kind of condensed space, because it's not really specific. But as men, we need to be cognizant and be careful, knowing that the rules aren't the same. Um, and we need to be well aware of what certain actions and what responsibility and the consequences that come with that. And so that does that mean that we have to move different and have more discipline and not do certain things because in the event that there's an error, is not going to be we're not going to face the same consequences as other people, then yes. And then it just is what it is because in the end, I would rather be on that side and being on the side where it's disadvantageous to me or to any other man. So we definitely need to be more cognizant and be more aware and uh, possess more discipline so that we don't put ourselves in disadvantageous positions. And because when we put ourselves in disadvantageous positions, it affects everybody else. It affects the women around us, the kids around us, society around us. It affects everybody. So we definitely need to be aware of that and move that way.
I agree. I definitely agree. Speaking from a Black woman's perspective, I absolutely agree. I know things are a little different for women, but we do have responsibilities as well too. So I absolutely agree with everything that you're saying. With that being said, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time. We will absolutely bring you back for future topics and conversations regarding life, men, business, profession, etc. Is there anything that you want to let the audience know you have coming up or anything before we close out the segment today?
I'll definitely be back, but no, cousin, we definitely gonna do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that being said, thank you so much for being here. Now you all can see why I have this amazing man on this show.